up the engine, let's hit the road. Pushing limits, we're out of control. Simulating speed, gripping the wheel tight. Sim racing's the game, gonna own the night. In the sim pit, we're ready to slay. Revving the virtual engine, we're here to play. Dodging crashes, blazing through the pack. Sim racing's our drug, we'll never look back. Virtual velocity, adrenaline's high. Sim racing addiction, we'll reach for the sky in the sim pit. We'll conquer the track, push the limits, ain't no turning back. Virtual velocity, adrenaline's high. Sim racing addiction, we'll reach for the sky in the sim pit. We'll conquer the track, push the limits, ain't no turning back. Welcome to the Symphony where the engines roar. Sean's bald-headed pride, always wanting more. Amir's got the skills, hair flowing free. On the racetrack, he's the one to see. Sean's pushing hard, living on the edge, but every single time he falls off the ledge. Frustration's building, can't handle the heat. Amir's calm and steady, never faces defeat. In the Symphony, the battle goes on. Sean versus Amir, but Amir's too strong. Sean spins out, frustration reigns. Amir stands tall, he's the king of the lanes. Sean's in the cockpit, eyes full of flame, dreaming of the victory, playing the game. But Amir's got the focus, the heart of a lion. On the track, every move perfectly aligned. Sean tries to take him, pushing to the brink, but with every move, he starts to sink. Crashing out, spinning, losing control. Amir's dominance, taking its toll. In the sim pit, the battle goes on. Sean versus Amir, but Amir's too strong. Sean spins out, frustration reigns. Amir stands tall, he's the king of the lane. Sean's got the drive, the laps the grace. Amir's got the rhythm, leading the race. Every single lap, the story's the same. Amir's in the spotlight, basking in fame. Sean's talking big, saying next time's a charm, but we all know he's heading for harm. Amir's the champion, cool and collected. In the civic world, he's highly respected. So here we stand, the final lap in sight. Sean's in the shadows, Amir's in the light. Amir's the master, can't be denied. Sean's frustration, he can't hide. In the sim pit, the battle goes on. Sean versus Amir, but Amir's too strong. Sean spins out, frustration reigns. Amir stands tall, he's the king of the lane. So remember the names when you talk about the track. Amir's the victor, always coming back. Sean's got the heart, but can't take the crown. In the sim pit world, Amir's renowned. So remember the names when you talk about the track. Amir's the victor, always coming back. Sean's got the heart, but can't take the crown. In the sim pit world, Amir's renowned.
morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are out there in the world. We're back. We're back with another pit stop, and unfortunately, my counterpart, he's not here. He's off. He's on his mini vacation. He's actually, his friend invited him over to the Indy 500, so he's gonna be there for the weekend. He's getting tours of the Dallara factory, be able to use the Dallara sim that they have in there. Like I'm really jealous of him. He never invited me. His friend never invited me. I'm like, what the hell, man? I thought we were bros. And I'm still stuck here. But the beauty of being stuck here is I'm here with you guys. I get to have fun with you guys on the pit stop. So that's going to be Sean's loss, not my loss. So I'm happy to be here with you guys. Yeah, before we get into it, I just want to get in there and say our highs and hellos. See who we have in chat. Callum, hey Callum, what's going on, buddy? Tom Jones, Alesh Mom, and we got David Payne. Hello, everybody. Who else do we got in here? Andrew White, hi, bud. Yes, vacation. I need a vacation too, man. David S. Yes, it is the greatest Nickelback song ever to never be recorded by them. Yeah. Yeah, so hey everybody, yeah, hope you guys are having a great Friday, and hopefully you guys are gonna have a good weekend too. It's a busy weekend in terms of racing. We got Indy 500, we've got the Nürburgring 24 hours qualifiers is this weekend, we've got Monaco Grand Prix, and there's a bunch of other racing going on too. Like I was looking at my YouTube, I'm seeing like all these streams are gonna be happening over the weekend for racing, so I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna just watch quite a bit of racing while I'm working on the car. Bucho, hi! Tim Ayers, hey buddy, how's it going, man? Bucho's on vacation until the 2nd of June, man. Again, I'm jealous, man. I need to go on vacation, man. Yeah, just busy work on all sorts of different things, and that's why, like, because Sean was prepping for the Indy 500, he wasn't able to get his video out on time. And then me doing some other stuff, working a bunch of other things behind the scenes. I wasn't able to get my video out on time. But it kind of... Yeah, Joe, I'm sorry, buddy. I mean, you got to blame Sean for that one. I do agree, Tom. They are too big. Now, when I was at work, I was watching a little bit of the practice session at FP1 that was going on. And yeah, these cars can't pass. So what they did for Monaco is they mandated a 2 pit stops. You know, every team has to do 2 pit stops to make the race more exciting. I mean, I don't know if you watched it last year, but last year was boring. They had the red flag on lap 1, and so everybody swapped their tires, and from there, just the leader just could drive as slow as he wanted, and they finished the race right. I think only like the top 10 finished the same exact place as they started. Well, you know, a couple other places through, you know, problems or them trying to do alternate strategies, you know, that order got shuffled around a little bit. But yeah, last year was boring. And I think, Dirge, hello, buddy. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry I overlooked you, man. Hello. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things like Monaco's such a historic track when it comes to F1 racing. But F1 is outgrown Monaco. Like, you know, I think Monaco would lose more if F1 didn't, you know, stop racing there versus F1 stopping. You know, F1 won't really lose anything because they're racing all over the world. And really, I think Monaco's mostly for the, you know, ultra wealthy rich people that go there during their vacation. You know, they just pull up in their yacht, watch the race from their yacht, or you know, and so it's not really for the average fan anymore, because I looked at tickets a couple of years ago. I mean, you're looking at nothing less than $1,000 for a ticket. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of starting to be in the camp that I think either F1 needs to go back to smaller cars, you know, for a lot of these older tracks, or they need to drop Monaco and start racing somewhere else. Yeah. Or, yeah, Bucho, either rain or somebody crashing out where, you know, they have to bring out the safety car, people need to pit. That's the only time that things are really going to change. And yeah, David, I think I agree there. I think they could turn it into more of a Goodwood style kind of event. You know, they could still go there, do their thing, but I don't think it should count towards the championship points because whoever's on pole, that's going to be the winner. I think what is that? I think the percentage that they were talking about, the percentage, I think it's like 80% of the pole sitters win Monaco, like unless something happens to first place where you get a mechanical issue, like it's always going to be the pole sitter winning. Yeah, and that's what I was looking at too. Yeah, it's going to be a mandatory pit stop. You're going to have pit crews that are going to mess it up because there was pit crews that messed up the stops at Imola, like McLaren. They messed up McLaren all for, what was it, Lando Norris? They messed up one of the pit stops. I think I can't remember if it was Lando or Oscar, where they couldn't get the front right wheel onto the car quick enough. Yeah. Uh, Something like that, Tom. I don't know exactly, but I mean, there's videos out there like where they do comparisons of like F1 cars through each of their like phases of when they swap, when they change the cars. But yeah, I mean, they're mad when you look at it compared to, let's say, Mika Häkkinen's 1996 McLaren. Freaking the F1 cars are huge compared to that one. Bucho, what do I think about Penske cheating and firing all of the main people? Before I answer that, yeah, guys, there's not really a lot of news. So if you guys want to ask questions, we can keep the conversation going. Other than that, like, like, there's not really too much news other than what I got pulled up right now is the iRacing, development blog. Bucho, when you have one person that owns a racing team, most of the tracks, and the organization, like, there's things that are going to happen. Like, I'm not going to go out there and accuse saying that Penske is the one that's pushing for, that's doing all the shady stuff behind the scenes, but it opens up, the team be able to do things that they probably shouldn't be doing. And again, I'm a believer that, all teams cheat until they get, they're not cheating until they get caught. All teams are always trying to, try to move away from, go into that gray zone between the rules and more into the, trying to see from the green to the red area where it's illegal. And yeah, and again, like they're saying that really what they did to that component doesn't affect performance. Again, I don't know. I didn't really read too much into it. I just read one article about the whole scandal that was happening. But yeah, definitely teams, yeah, people should be fired. I think the team, if this happened in Formula 1, the team would be stripped of all of its points. They did that to McLaren back in the day with the whole McLaren gate thing where the McLaren engineer was giving secrets away and Alonso exposed them and everything. They got stripped of all of their championship points. And I think the same should happen to the Penske team. Like, there's no reason, or like, if I'm going to be the owner, I'm going to be owner of the series, I'm going to be owner of a team, owner of most of the tracks, then I'm going to make sure I do everything I can humanly possible to make sure that there's clear transparency and rules in place to stop things like that. Or you're always going to be accused of changing outcomes to your favor. Yeah, exactly, which I said it. Yeah, all teams cheat until they get caught. Really. Or I mean, yeah, sorry, he owns Indy 500. Or he owns Indianapolis and another track. But I'm saying, like, when you're owning things that go into a series that you run, like, it opens up for a lot of things to happen. Yeah, which is a good thing. Like, they should always have an independent people making sure that the cars meet the regulations. Think what you will of the FIA. Like, the FIA has nothing to do with the teams. All they do is they lay out the rules and tell the teams, here are the rules, go forward and conquer. They don't really have anything to say about they don't really have too much to say about the tracks, the teams, the drivers. They just enforce the rules, and then you have the FOM, which under the leadership and owned by Liberty Media. They're the ones that go out and organize all that stuff, make sure the teams do the Concord agreement, get the pay, get all that stuff, and they're the ones that advocate on behalf of the teams to the FIA. So, but the FIA is just there to enforce the rules and nothing else. Yeah, dude, Dirge, I don't know. Yeah, Ford's on the way. Everybody wants to be in GTD and LMDH. Everybody wants to be in it, man. We have Aston Martin, we have Hyundai coming into it next year. Now Ford, Mercedes is talking about going into LMDH. It's really cool to see that you have a spec series, not really a spec series, but an LMDH program where the costs aren't too high to develop these cars, and you can sell them to customers and not have to worry about having a manufacturer team, and cutting down the cost of actually running a team like Formula One. Like Formula One teams before the budget, like they were spending hundreds of millions of dollars on car development, where here you make your car for this season, you make your car for the year, that's the car, you don't really do much to it anymore, and you can make it at a much cheaper price, and then you can sell it to customer teams. Yeah, McLaren and Genesis, yeah, they're Lambo. Oh, you want Lambo to come to BRC? But yeah, I think WEC has been a lot of fun to watch. I don't know if any of you have guys been watching WEC for the past couple of races that they did. Hyundai. Yeah, Hyundai. I heard so many different things too. But WEC has been a lot of fun. Like I watched, I tried to watch as much of Spa as I could last 2 weeks ago, and it was such a good battle between all the different classes. And I felt bad because I was watching Alpine. Like Alpine last year, they weren't really doing that great, and this year they've really stepped up and they were taking the fight to Ferrari. Like they were on point to, because at that early on in the race, it was Ferrari in the top 3, and Alpine I think started 4th or 5th. They made their way up to second, the third. Then they got up to second. Then they were battling with the leader, and then in the last 50 minutes, they ended up getting a slow puncture on one of their tires, so they had to come and pit. But they ended up finishing 3rd place. So it's good to see there's not this huge disparity in racing like you would see in Formula 1. Like Formula 1, I mean, you only have 1 to 2 teams that are constantly fighting for the top step, whereas in LMDH now and WEC and everything, you're starting to see you don't know who's gonna win. One day it could be Porsche, another day it could be BMW, another day it could be Audi. You just don't know, and it's one of the great things about WEC is you go in there and you're not really gonna know who's gonna win. Yeah. Yeah. The only one that shows this is my YouTube feed. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Because I see over here, I get to watch IMSA. IMSA's for free. WEC is free. DTM is free. And if you don't watch DTM, DTM's another good racing series to watch too. Really, really good to watch. Formula 1, I have to go to certain places to watch it because I refuse to pay for Sky F1. What else is out there? There's the Fanatec GT World Challenge. That's also I watched that too. Those are all streamed, and yeah, there's more others too. You just got to do a search on YouTube for motorsport racing. You get all these different channels, all the racing that happens in the UK. You got the European Le Mans series. You got the Super GT in Japan. Then you've got the Super Formulas. There's so much that's going on. Yeah, I've heard that too, John. Yeah, Hyundai. I've heard that too. Jeremy, hey buddy, how's it going, man? But yeah, enough talking about, if you guys got more stuff you want to talk about real life racing. Other than that, I'm gonna get into the news. Dude, Callum, even now, I was at first, For me, by far, the best DTM cars were in the 90s. Not to say the best racing cars, the best action to watch for DTM was DTM in the 90s, 100%. And Race Room did a great job bringing those cars to life in the Sims. So if you haven't tried out the DTM cars in Race Room, you are really missing out. But for me, the best looking race cars were the DTM cars of, let's say, 2010 and onward, before they switched over to the GT3 cars. And I think IMSA shows up a week or two after the race happens. Yeah, I think because I'm overseas, Tom, I get to watch those live streams. Yeah, Tom, that was like the 2010s to up until they switched over to the GT3 cars. But even then, when I heard that they were, when manufacturers started to pull out of DTM, I think it was like Audi pulled out of it, then Mercedes was pulling out of it, and all was really left was BMW, because Aston Martin joined at the last minute. They weren't really like fully invested into DTM. They were, I think they were using some other manufacturer's chassis. They just had the Audi body on it, and it was just such a shame. Those cars were just amazing. Like, they were this loud revving V8s, man. Every time I'd go to those races, like, the whole freaking paddock would just be shaking from the sound of those engines. They were amazing. And then, because of all the teams withdrawing, they were like, all right, Gerhard Berger, who runs DTM, he's like, oh, we're going to switch over to the GT3s. And at first, I was a little apprehensive. I was like, do we really need another GT3 racing? But they were like, we're going to add more power to these cars. You can add more aero, make them lighter than the normal GT3 cars. And I've been still watching it for the past 2 seasons, and it's been lots of close racing, really awesome racing still going on in DTM. Like, even though I wasn't happy about the cars, but I'm starting to really grow to I'm falling back in love with DTM again. Tim Mars, you have to give it a chance again, man. It's been really good fights. Like, it's weird. Like, the last couple of races I watched, like, you watch GT3 racing, like, through WEC or the Fanatec, World GT Challenge. Like, there are still very gentleman drivers, where in DTM, no, they're still banging cars like they were in the 90s. Like, I watched the last race where a couple people got, booted off the track, a couple of people getting flat tires, torn bodywork. These guys don't care about bouncing off of each other. So, I mean, I would give it a chance if you get it just to watch again, or you could watch like the last race that happened, because that was a lot of fun to watch too. It was really close. I think it was one of the Ferrari teams that won, but like the Grillo Porsche of Manti was behind them, and they were just fighting the whole entire race. And I think, like, with DTM, because like it really helps that the circuits are a little bit smaller than normal. For like, some of the circuits are a little bit smaller than normal racetracks, because they mostly race in Germany, and I think they do one race. Like, they do some races in the Netherlands, and they do some races in Austria, I believe. But yeah, a lot of them are like really. They're not like the full GT3 tracks that we're used to. No, Dirge, I would completely disagree. The DTM cars are a lot faster than the regular GT3 cars. But yeah, if you haven't checked out DTM, I would definitely check it out. Again, I was really apprehensive about watching. I didn't really actually watch it the first season, but then Sunday, there was nothing going on. I just watched it. I was like, holy crap, this racing is freaking awesome. Yeah. Speaking of GT3s, iRacing came out with their new development update. So, talking about some of the stuff they're going to be implementing, in the next season build, which is going to come out next month, and then some of the stuff they're going to be doing later on down for the rest of the year. And one of them they talked about was a huge update to the GT3 cars that's going to be coming out to it. And they mentioned it all in this article, so if you haven't read this article yet, it's a really good read because they're going to be talking about a lot of different things that they're going to be doing. And I'm just going to go through some of the footnotes of it all. So like they're talking about new tracks. So they went back to Austria. They rescanned the Shell V-Power Motorsport Park, and most of these people like down Australia, it's called the Bend, and it's arguably the second largest track in the world. It's about 7.7 kilometers. When you're talking about racing the whole entire track, so I'm assuming you're gonna have the long track, the full track, and you're gonna race out. You can race different configurations out here for the different series. So that's gonna be coming out for this next build. They're showing the pictures of them doing the scans and the modeling, everything. And they're not stopping at just a one track, but they're also rescanning, modeling other tracks too. So we're talking about redoing Iowa Speedway, Sonoma Raceway, excuse me guys, Worldwide Technology Raceway, Charlotte Speedway, North Wilkesboro Speedway. So they're talking about these are going to be free updates. So these are going to be completely reworked, and remodeled tracks are going to be completely free to everybody. So you don't have to worry about buying new tracks or rebuying these tracks again. These are all going to be free for everybody. And they're also going to be refreshing other tracks too. So we're talking about refreshing Circuit Americas, which I think is in dire need of a refresh because the version that we have in iRacing is not what they race on anymore. Like those freaking sausage curves that, when you're going through the S's after, going to turn 3, 4, 5, and 6, you got those sausage curves that you got to avoid, or you're going to be freaking spinning out and crashing the wall. They don't have them anymore in real life. So I'm hoping that's one of the things that they're going to be taking out. And we're talking about Darlington, Daytona, Indianapolis, Lime Rock, Phoenix, Texas, and more. So there's going to be refresh of these tracks, and these are all going to be free for everybody too. So you don't have to worry about rebuying all these tracks all over again. Lazarus Ring, yeah, okay, yeah. It does look huge, Tom. It's huge. Yeah, so there you go. So we're talking about that, refresh tracks. Then on to cars. So they're talking about they're bringing a new car. I don't know. I was disappointed with this one because they're bringing the Ferrari. I mean, the Ferrari 296 is a beautiful race car. It sounds great. It drives great. But they're bringing the 296 Challenge spec car. Like, do we need another spec car in iRacing? And I think this has like been one of my biggest complaints when it comes to iRacing is just there's too many series that are going on right now, but not enough people racing in them. Like there's quite a few series that are out there that can't even go official because they don't get the participation to it. So is this going to be another spec series that's going to be added into the iRacing schedule, or are they going to take something off and add this in place of it? And so I don't want to see and they don't race this car outside of the spec races that it races in. Like you don't see it at the 24 hours of Nürburgring, like where they have the different classes or anything like that. So like, to me, it just disappointed me to see that, hey, just another car that looks like a GT3 car, but it's going to be raced on its own. And yeah, I don't know. I wasn't too happy about that. Now, all racing, I am confused with all GT3 cars. They all seem the same. They all seem the same to you, Tom. I don't know. They all have their own different characteristics. Like I think that's one of the things that iRacing has been doing a pretty good job is making sure the GT3 cars all drive very different than each other. Yeah, Spatial DTM is always on YouTube. It's free. I love that fact about DTM. And plus, like, if you live in Europe, you can get tickets to go watch the DTM like on a Sunday for like, was it $30-40? And you get to watch not just DTM, but they got other feeder series that race out there. Like they do historic DTM races. They got other race series that go on. Like I think they do the last time I went to the Nürburgring GP, they were doing Porsche Cup cars along with the DTM. So you're gonna be out there the whole entire Sunday, and you're just there for like $30-40. compared to when you're spending 300-400, even to like $1,000 on F1 tickets. Yeah. No, I haven't gotten to that part yet, John. I'm still going through all of it. Right now, I've just gone on to the cars talking about the 296. All right. So on top of the 296, what they're also bringing is they announced the Gen 4 Cup cars. They announced that as a project, in previous development builds, but now they're talking about that it's been completed and it's ready for release. So we're going to see the 2003 Chevy Monte Carlo, and we're going to see the 2003 Ford Taurus. Those are going to be added into iRacing. So for all those oval racers that are out there that have always wanted the Gen 4s in iRacing, they're going to be coming out in this new build. There you go, and you're gonna be able to, and they're talking about, oh, so okay, this is one thing I kind of caught my eye too. So they're talking about, while like many of the cars that have track specific variants, the 2003 variant was so unique that they couldn't use just one single paint template, and they had to split each variant into its own unique template. So for you guys that are going to be painting these cars, you're gonna have different templates to paint to make sure that you're covering all the different track variants. All right, and they're talking about how you can, you can see that in the UI paint kit. You'll be able to see the different variants for the paint schemes. Tom, you bought the Mercedes GT3. Because now they have the Mercedes GT3 Evo. The Mercedes GT3 is the old one. Now they got the Evo. That's the newer Mercedes. What about the 2 mandatory pit stops and must use 3 gears of tires, or if wet, use both inner and wets? F1. So spatial, they have to do that. We talked about that early in the show. So yeah, they got to do the 2 mandatory pit stops. They didn't say they got to use 3 grades of tires. They just said they have to, I believe they still kept the rule of they have to use 2 different sets of tires. And I didn't see where they said you have to use both inners and wets, because, what if it rains really hard and if it's 2 and the inner, they can't use the inners. So I didn't see that rule. I only saw was the 2 mandatory pit stops and then just the normal, the 2 different grades of tires. That's all I saw that they were talking about when I was reading the articles yesterday. Yeah. All right, so they're talking about, the new Gen 4 cars when they come out, they're going to replace what's currently there. I think people got like, they're the fake Gen 4 cars. But these, the new Gen 4 cars, the Monte Carlo and the Taurus, are going to be replacing what's currently in iRacing. And then talking about IndyCar, so here we go, IndyCar. So they're also revamping and doing a comprehensive update to the IR18 to bring it up to the 2025 spec of what's currently out there, that they're currently racing. So they've been working with Dallara to update the current IR18 to the current specs, and also are talking about now, they've redone the tire models for the Indy cars. They've done the aero modeling, and now that they're adding the wet tires to the Indy cars, so there's going to be some changes that they're doing to it. So we're talking about, they've made the setup change limits more in line with what you can do in real life. They've added barge board options, and then they've updated all the tires for the Indy cars too. One detail we have deferred to the future is the new hybrid system. So iRacing was talking about it for a while, and they admitted that yes, they did. And they're talking about more about the LMDHs, the GTP cars. When they first started bringing out the hypercars and the GTP cars, all they really did was take what they were using, the hybrid system from the Formula 1 car that they have, the Mercedes F1 car, and it brought it into the hybrid cars. But in real life, that's not how the LMDH or the GTP cars, deploy hybrid power. They use it more, it's more as, where can they save fuel? It's more as a fuel saving method. Like, they always have the same exact power, but they just adjust the power of the batteries to make sure they can compensate for if they want to use more fuel, less fuel, and that's it. Whereas in iRacing, you can go from race quali, you can go to overtake mode, They don't really have that in those cars in real life. So iRacing's talking about that they're they admitted to it, a couple months ago, saying, "Yep, we're using the wrong one. The tires are all messed up." So they fixed the tires the last build, and now they're still talking about that they're still working on the hybrid system for those cars. Looking for a team forcing yellow to advance their leading driver. Yeah, Tom, I don't think, or John, I don't think they would do that after the whole Alonso Nelson PK thing. Yeah, I don't think that would fly anymore. Yeah, well, it's just a new fixed Ferrari car. So I mean, in theory, I didn't think about that. It could replace the current fixed Ferrari series. But yeah, but John was saying, like, those are short races. They're not very long races. All right. They also talk about how with the R team they've updated the graphics, so now the engine reflects the the Cosworth steering wheel, and now they have the road course specific aero screen, and additionally that they're now capturing the sounds from the real cars to make sure they can bring that into the sim. Chewbacca gurgle. Okay. So yeah, here's a picture of the guys that are capturing the audio from the cars. That they're still working on the audio part. Then also talk about the Gen 7 NASCAR Cup cars. Talking about that car, those cars went through a massive overhaul, and it's going to be ready for the new tire. And also, they're going to be improving the aerodynamics, bring it more and close to how the cars really operate. And so this is going to be something that's going to be dropping into the sim too. So we're also going to have wet and dry tires. Or no, I'm sorry, they're not going to have wet tires. I was reading ahead. But they're going to be upgrading the NASCAR Gen 7 Cup cars up to the current, how the current gen cars are right now. So that's another thing that's happening. And then, like John was talking about earlier, so we're talking about beginning, GT3 cars. They're doing a lot of updates to the GT3 cars. So we're going to try to roll through all these bullet points of what they're talking about for the GT3 cars. All right, so we're starting with, they're redeveloping the whole entirety of the GT3 race car class. It's going to be, talking about it's going to be really detailed. So with the tires, they developed new dry and wet tires. So we're going to be using iRacing's newest tire model to use with the dry and wet tires. And then we developed specifically for the GT3s. They've overhauled the aerodynamics on the majority of the GT3 cars. And hopefully, which I'm hoping to, because like if you race in the GT3 class, it's really hard to pass on straightaways. Like you don't get a lot of draft from the GT3 cars. So hopefully that will kind of fix it to where like draft is a little bit more powerful to where you can actually pass people on straightaways. But yeah, so they're talking about here for, the biggest goal for them was to reduce the tire surface temperature spikes to make sure, the temperature of the tires actually don't spike too much. And, whenever the tires spike too much, the car's going to get really slidey. So they want to make sure that, they don't spike as much as they would, in real life, the tires don't spike, the temperatures don't spike that much like it does in the sim. So with the new tire model, they're hoping that will resolve the issue of the high spikes, temperature spikes in the tires. But because of that, so now, they're lowering the tire temperatures when you come out of the pits. So now it's going to take you a lot longer to warm up. So they're saying it's going to take you about 4 to 5 laps to get the tires fully up to speed, which means that, around the 4th lap. So, you're going to be able to either make the tires last longer, or you can just abuse them. And if you abuse them too much, you're going to end up suffering a lot more tire degradation. All right, they talk about the spring rate. So now they're bringing the spring rates closer to how they are in real life. Also talk about dynamic ride height control. So they're making sure they're more compliant with the tires. They've added bump stop rubbers and the ability to adjust their static gaps to the cars that they didn't previously have in the previous setup. They've updated aerodynamics to have a different sweet spots in the ride height from what you're used to. And they're talking about, you're going to notice that the cars are going to behave differently in small to large slides, and that's partially due to the updated aerodynamic yaw modeling. And then they're talking about they're adding front splitter heights. Ugh, I can't talk today. So you can now adjust the front splitter height. It's going to be a determining factor in passing tech specs. And then because of all these changes, all the setups that you guys have saved, for the past couple of years with the GT3 cars, they're not going to fly anymore. You're going to have to if you're not if you don't get setups from from those setup websites, you're going to have to rebuild all your GT3 setups all over again because they're just not going to pass with all these new changes. And they talk about how they're not going to be changing the BOP for any of the cars for this next season. Yeah, just trying to catch up. Yep, I saw that, Tim. Yeah, they updated their new update. Yeah, I've heard that a lot from a lot of people, but one because like I'm not saying it takes a lot of skill to drive those cars, but to really drive those cars to the max, which you can, you need some good skill to do that. Which means yeah, you're gonna have like really competitive series in that one. Hutu416 says, real world physics do not necessarily make good sim physics. I agree and disagree, Callum. I agree and disagree on that one. Because to me it depends on the type of car. Like for example, like I've heard from, I've seen, heard, read from a lot of GT3 drivers that the GT3 cars in reality are very easy cars to drive. But to get the most, when you're trying to get the max out of those cars, that's where you have to be really, really good. But in reality, like they're very easy cars to drive. Quick, not the fastest, but they're easy to drive quick. Whereas like they're more forgiving, than I would say like in Formula 1 cars where like you have to be a top level driver. So I would say like when it comes to Formula 1, you don't really want the most accurate physics because you're just going to end up in the wall every time you come out of a corner. Whereas the GT3 cars are going to be a little bit more forgiving in driving them. So I think like if they were closer to real life physics, I don't think it would matter too much. Yeah. What's up, John Shield? How you doing, buddy? Teleport Max back, right? I should have told Sean, like, hey man, fly Max out to me. I'll take care of him for the weekend. No, Sean, he's over at the Indy 500 race for this weekend. His good friend invited him out there to do a tour of, to be there for the race for the whole weekend and then get a tour of the Dallara factory and actually get to try out their sim. So he's going to be doing all that this weekend, leaving us here. Mansky 209. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm not tracking any good sales. LMU, hoping LMU goes on sale. I don't see LMU maybe going on sale. Maybe during the Steam spring sale. But yeah, I mean, I think I can't remember last time I checked the game, but it's a fair bit cheaper than the other sims that are out there right now. Yeah, John, they have all those assists in there, but again, like, but again, like a real race car driver wouldn't be using them too much to rely on them, more as a safeguard measure. Like, I mean, you've probably, when you've driven the GT3s and all the sims, like if you raise up TC too much, it ends up slowing you down. And then if you're using too much ABS, like also, again, it starts slowing you down too much. So like it's kind of a balancing act when it comes to like the assistant GT3 cars. But I'm talking about like in actual like terms of actual like real life driving. A lot of them will say they're very easy cars to drive, just because they have so much mechanical grip from the aero, and they're just very, very well balanced cars. In terms of like how the weight and everything's distributed in those cars. And then yeah, the hydraulics, like you see them like been there where like they're turning the steering wheel like when they're up on the lifts and everything, doing the pit walk, like got the mechanics in there, they're just turning the wheel like with one finger. They're not hard cars. Yeah, me too. I think they were talking about this is like their brand new sim too. It's not even the old one that they have. Like they've built a brand new sim, and he's actually getting to try that out. All right, but yeah, going back to it, so yeah, those are the big updates to the GT3s that's coming through. Big updates coming to it. So I think like people are gonna have to try to relearn it a little bit, just with all the changes that are going to. And I hope that makes the racing a lot more fun with the GT3 cars. I think like in our road series, we've been having a lot of fun racing in the road series. Like there's been a lot of close battles, a lot of close fights, and it's been a lot of fun. I actually like I wasn't expecting to have this much fun racing in our road series in the GT3s, and hopefully this brings iRacing more in line. I mean, I don't think that, like right now they don't have the best GT3 cars. I think right now when it comes to GT3 cars, I think LMU sits at the top with the best. I'm not gonna say like the best feeling, but I'm saying like the best driving GT3 cars. So that brings them a step closer up to that. That'd be great. Yeah. But again, so getting back to iRacing, so yes, so when it comes to season 3, we're also going to get the rain tires for the Lotus 79 and the Super Formula. The F4 is going to receive full dry and wet tires. We're going to see the BMW M4 GT4 is going to be upgraded to the Evo version. If you already have the normal GT4, you don't have to worry about buying it because it's automatically going to update to the Evo version. And then they talk about how they've updated the BMW M Hybrid V8 LMDH to reflect the current wheel and dash panel buttons that they used this year for this car. And again, they go back here talking about how they're still working on the hybrid system for the GTPs. Saying, yep, they were supposed to have it for this update, but they still said they need a little bit more time to work on it, so it won't be in this update, and it's potentially going to be in the next update. Deadman, what is physics? Hey, Iron Marshall, how you doing, man? I hope you're doing well, buddy. And then we're talking about features, so let's get into some of the features they talk about. So VR, they've been working really hard on VR. So, when they first collaborated with Oculus, they brought VR support in through Oculus, but now you can use pretty much essentially any VR headset. And now a lot of the VR headsets have moved, using different technologies. They got fixed foveated, variable foveated. So with season 3, they're going to be adding support for the quad view foveated rendering support. The RTX 200 series and up graphics card support. So you're going to be able to use, if you don't know foveated rendering, like essentially breaks the screen into multiple different sections and it renders each one differently to make sure it helps with your frame rate, and that way you're not seeing, it's going to be very clear where you're actually looking at. So when you switch your eyes or you move around, the other options will get out of focus a little bit. That way it saves on pixels, but it will super, laser focus on where you're actually looking at. So here they're bringing that support into the quad view foveated rendering. Talking about how they've been working really hard on the rain system, so we're bringing rain visual updates to bring it more in line with how wetness is actually displayed on the track. Yes, I know, Adobe, I need to update you. I'll worry about you later. So they're continually working on the rain update. And it's something, they've said it's going to be a work in progress. And then getting into adaptive AI. Adaptive AI is still continually getting worked on. And this is the feature that they're actually working on before they start working, before they fully dive into the career mode of iRacing that they talked about. So, once they get adaptive AI working fully and properly, then they can actually start pouring a lot of those resources into the career mode for iRacing. They're also talking about how we're going to get adaptive AI support come into hosted racing. So you're not going to be able to just create your own hosted session, have adapted AI, or create your own test session, have adaptive AI. You're going to be able to create hosted sessions so you can race with your friends and AI in that one too. They're going to be adding 360 hertz support FFB for multiple wheels, and they're close to adding haptic support to multiple different wheels. So I guess more info to follow on that. Yes, Tom Jones, they left out AMD. I know. I guess they're probably going to be working on AMD cards first before they get into the NVIDIA cards. Mo VR, Mo better. iRacing has some of the best VR in sim racing. I never heard you say that, Callum. That's pretty cool, Tim. Yeah. All right, so going on to talking about how their future development that they're talking about. I know, right, Joe? We were talking about that yesterday. We were talking about that the other day too, right? They're talking about how they're updating their UI and you have your graphics overlay in the game. So you can see a picture of here how things are going to look. Talking about so yeah, doing a lot of changes to that. Again, it's still not ready to be released. Like, to me, this is like the big thing I've been waiting for is the UI, because it's really needed in iRacing. The UI looks like it's still from the 90s. So that they're still working on that, still not ready for release. Talking about how they're reworking their new rendering engine, so the team is reaching all their milestones, reaching all their significant achievements. So yeah, their graphics rendering engine is still working, still on track, being worked on, still on track. So they're talking about how this new graphics engine is going to be taking a lot of the work off the CPU and putting it onto the GPU, because iRacing, we were just talking about this the other day, where I used to be able to run iRacing on a potato, but now, like, even on a 4090, like, I'm still, like, some tracks I can barely hit 90 frame rate when I'm having everything fully maxed out. So I gotta turn some things down on 4090, and it's not because of the 490, it's just because of the graphics or because of the CPU. So they're trying to offload a lot of the burden off the CPU and move that onto the GPU. And they're also going to be working on an all-new shadow system. And again, the physics, they're continually improving on the physics, so that's going to be something we're going to see every single update. The physics is going to be just little by little updated. And here's where they talk about career mode, where career mode is kind of like, not been paused, but, they've been focusing more on the AI systems and make sure AI is good to go when they fully launch, when they fully start working on the career mode. All right, so we're talking about just a couple quick improvements. So they moved off of their old Oracle databases that were on premise. They moved them into the cloud, which is going to help cut down time on their maintenance time. Demo drive and maintenance mode are now fully integrated within the application, so that way you don't have to go to multiple different places. When the server's down, you can go straight into the demo and maintenance and do your races there. They're adding additional AI templates, so we can give you a little bit more options to tailor the AI the way you like it to. And then now they've updated their UI to the latest version of React to make sure it runs a lot smoother. I will do that, Tom. I will do that, Tim, if somebody will buy me a 5090. I am not buying a 5090. There is no point in buying it right now. No, Callum. No Unreal. No. Unreal should be banned from being used in Sims. I'm sorry, but no. All right. And then now they're talking about some of their future track cars that are going to be coming out. So right now the team's working on Mexico City. They were there at I believe at the last Mexican Grand Prix, scanning the track. So they're still working on that track. They're also working on Miami. They were there scanning Miami during the Grand Prix. So, we're going to get 2 street circuits. I mean, Mexico's kind of a half street, half circuit, which I like. I like the layout of Mexico. Miami, on the other hand, not too really caring about that one. Then what else we're talking about? So yeah, the car team, they're working on some additions to the GT3s, GT4s, GTPs. Yeah, we're still missing some of those cars there, but we're also missing some other cars iRacing. While GT racing is fun, we still need some of the other cars to get updated, or some of the new cars brought in. But yeah, so that's the biggest. Yeah, so that's the big update that's coming out from iRacing. Yeah. I have an RX 580 for. Okay, Callum. Right, Amir would need a new. No, I don't need a new PSU. I make sure I always get a PSU big enough to make sure I don't have to buy so many different things at the same time. And that's the other thing why I didn't get a 5090 Joa, is because I don't want my house to burn down. They are Dirge, but they're also not using. I believe they're not using the same Unreal Engine that like ACC was using. They're using the newest one, but there's still some issues with it. Like it's much better than the Unreal Engine that ACC was using, but there's still some issues graphically when you look at AMU that they still need to work on to fine tune. All right, so yeah, that's all the news for iRacing. Moving in, Asetek, which one? I don't know. Either one, Asetek, they just announced over this week that they're releasing a new Formula One rim. So releasing the Forte Formula Pro steering wheel, and that's priced at €749, which is a little bit cheaper than some of their other wheels, but they're also adding more features to it. But here I noticed this too here when I was looking at it. The handles are sold separately because they got different kinds of handles that you can buy for this wheel. So yeah, we'll look at the different handles that you can buy real quick. So they got, you know, the regular Formula handles, they got Formula LMP handles, you got the regular handles with suede, and then you got the Formula XL handles. So you can get 4 different handles, and I guess they're kind of almost copying what SimMagic brought to the Sim Expo last year with their Zeus wheels, like where you can use different, you know, different rims and everything like that. But here you can swap out the handles. So, you know, we're talking about, you know, you can buy essentially, you know, the box for €749, and then you add in €80 to €118 add-on for the handles that you want for your race wheel. So yeah, you're looking at least, you know, $850 for the new Asetek Formula wheel. It looks cool. I'm not a big fan of the forged look, but I mean, still, it looks like a pretty nice, actual nice looking F1. You can see here, it's showing you all the different wheel handles on the graphics right here. Yeah, Dirge, just wait for Pineapple Grips to come out with their own set for a lot cheaper. Yeah. Yeah, and I like full SimHub integration. So they talked about it. I was watching this video. I didn't pull up the video, but in this video, you're going to be able to use the Asetek software. You're going to be able to use SimHub. There's another program you'll be able to use to make sure you can use for this wheel, which is really good too, because I think all Sims just need to be using SimHub. Like, you shouldn't be making, I don't think you really need to make proprietary gear. SimHub is such a great program. You don't really need to be using your own software or using proprietary software. But yeah, talking about the display, it's a 4.3 inch 800 by 480 pixel LCD touch display running at 60 hertz. And then let's look at it. It's light, but is it okay? It's light, but tell me the weight. I want to know how much it weighs. And then, all right, yeah, the different customizations. So yeah, for you guys that you use Asetek, and also he mentions in the video too, this wheel can be used on different wheelbases. So even if you don't have an Asetek, wheelbase, and you really want this wheel, they do have an add-on that you can use it where you can now use a USB cord and plug it in your PC, so you can use it with any other wheelbase that's out there. So you're not just limited to just the Asetek wheelbase. You can use this wheel on any wheelbase. Right? Is that true, Tom? Yeah. All right. Moving on. All right, here we go. So we got Fanatec. Fanatec is talking about, we're not going to get political here. We're going to keep it just to sim racing news. But yeah, when the U.S. implemented tariffs, Fanatec was one of those people that came out and said, hey, because of the tariffs are going to be implemented, we have to raise prices. Well, since then, am I still here? Testing 1 2 3. I just saw my OBS disconnected. It says I'm still here. No drop frames, but okay. Just making sure if someone can send me a message. All right, we're still here. Okay, cool. But yeah, so if you ordered anything from Fanatec, then during when they increased their prices, so now they're offering you 2 options. You can either get a refund for the difference of prices now that they dropped their prices again. So you get, if you bought anything from them between what is it? Yeah, I mean, it's essentially when they raise the prices and now you can get a refund from them, or they'll give you a voucher for 25% discount code for any for any orders you want to get off of Fanatec. So I think it's a really good. I mean, I don't agree that they should have raised their prices, but at least if you bought something during that time, you can get your money back here through Fanatec. All right. And here we go. We got another thing we're talking about. So we were talking about touring cars, right? We're talking about, we're talking a little bit about Race Room. Some of you guys mentioned the British Touring Car Cup. So Race Room is reviving the touring car glory. And this is an article from Boxes Slap. So from May 15th, this started a week ago, to May 29th on Race Room, you're going to be able to drive the Volvo S40 Super Touring at the iconic Silverstone Classic. So if you want to kind of like relive the glory days of the touring cars back in the day, you're going to be able to drive this car for free at Silverstone for free. You don't have to buy anything. You just go out there, download the content, and race it on Race Room. And I tried these cars a while ago. They're a lot of fun. So if you're really into like the old school classic kind of touring cars, dude, you've really got to try out the Volvo S40. Yeah, really good. It's a really fun car to drive. So that's really good on iRacing. I really like it from Race Room, sorry. I really like it when Race Room does these things where they give you a couple of weeks to test things out for free. Or even just their normal test mode where you can test out, all of their cars before you actually buy it, which I think that's something iRacing has needed to adopt for a very, very long time. I don't see why they can't do that. If Race Room can do it, iRacing can do it. But yeah, so Race Room, if you want to try out, this classic car, it's free right now on Race Room. All right, going on. It's not working. What's not working? Let's reload. All right, here we go. So two companies, if you guys didn't see in the news, two companies announced that now you can buy refurbished gear, or you could buy used gear so you don't have to pay full price on gear. Now, how the quality of refurbished is, I can't say, or let's say pre-owned or pre-used or whatever you want to call it. Oh. Yeah. I'm just catching up to you guys. All of you guys need to get on Race Room and drive the real sim. Okay. I mean, I'll say Race Room is probably one of the most underrated sims that's out there. I will admit to that. People really need to give Race Room a try. LMU, I just want to say but I call it iRacing because you have to buy each content separately instead of buying packs. That's why I kind of call that iRacing. But you're right, Joa. I believe, every single sim that's out there, you should have a trial period to try it out to see if you like those cars, and then you can buy it. Not just buy it and then be disappointed in what you bought. Especially with how, with how cars all behave differently. Like the most in Race Room, iRacing, and LMU, I could say those, or even R Factor. None of the cars behave the same. Like when you look at GT3 cars, none of the GT3 cars behave in the same way. So how do you know what car is the best fit for your driving style? You don't know until you buy it, and then you're looking at it as like, well, this car sucks. When it just doesn't fit your driving style. The car itself doesn't suck, it just doesn't fit your driving style. I think you should be able to drive to test the car out. Let's say, they give you an hour, 2 hours to use the car, and then you got to make up your choice if you want to buy it or not. I'm cool with that. Or like, hey, maybe one weekend out of, every 6 months, hey, free trial for any of the cars out there, go out and try it. At least, like, I'll give iRacing credit is when it's down for maintenance, you can test out, I'll say, the older cars, not the cars that are going to get released during that patch, but you can test out cars that were released maybe 2 updates ago or 3 updates ago. You can try those cars out, and then you can see if you want to buy it or not. But why don't they just make that a full-fledged option, and not just during the maintenance period? I don't understand. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, going back into it. So yeah, Asher Racing. So they've announced that now you can buy refurbished gear. So if you're really into Asher and you've been wanting to buy a wheel, but they've been a little too pricey for you, well, now you have the option to buy refurbished wheels. Again, it's another option out there. I'm not gonna say I agree or disagree with the refurbished gear, but it's just another option for people to purchase something at a much, at a cheaper price. So it's not just Asher that's doing this, but it's also SimiCube. So SimiCube also announced that, hey, you can buy pre-owned SimiCube. And here we can click on and go to their products. So you can see right now you can see the wheels. You can go to their website. So you can see they have their wheelbases, their pedals, a bunch of different things, and they're going to keep the site updated as they get more pre-owned. But yeah, you can buy now pre-owned gear from SimiCube. Well, this is they do have a display screen, Tom. But this is just right now what their current, this is their current refurbished inventory. But they do have a wheel with a screen. Yeah. That's why like Asher is a pretty pricey. I get kind of for what you get compared to other wheels out there. I do agree on that one. Yeah, it's true, and it does. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't like it has its pluses and minuses. So you guys need to make your own judgment when it comes to buying refurbished. But yeah, they definitely have to give you a warranty on that one. No, Tim, I'm not saying. Yeah, but iRacing already sells you all the cars separately. But again, iRacing already makes tons of money. Like, iRacing is probably one of the only sims that's out there that is not hurting for money. Especially when they talk about they have almost 200 plus people working across the globe on iRacing. So I know iRacing's not hurting for money. Like, but if they give you the option to try a car, test it out, like it, like if they release, let's say next update they release 3 GT3 cars. Like what are some of the GT3 cars that are missing? Let's say the Aston Martin, the Lamborghini, or they have the Lamborghini. I'm just gonna spat out Aston Martin, Bentley, and I don't know, Hyundai. They released those 3 cars. At least I think you should have the option to try and see which one you test each one separately, see which one you like, and then I think that would actually help with people buying stuff from iRacing. Like I've heard it from a lot of people, they don't buy from iRacing, they don't race iRacing because of the price. And to an extent, I do kind of agree on some of the complaints when it comes to the pricing of iRacing. I agree to it to an extent, but I'm not. But again, like I'm willing to pay for iRacing prices. Yeah. But going back into it, Asher Racing and SimiCube now they're offering pre-owned refurbished gear. If you want to save a little bit of money, you can go to their websites and buy some of their used gear that they have out there. All right, moving on. Still talking about racing equipment. Here we go. Mosa announced their new Lamborghini racing steering wheel. So it's kind of basic. It's not like the last Lamborghini wheel that they released. I can't even remember the name of it. It's such a long name. But anyways, now if for Lamborghini gearheads that are out there, you can get this Lamborghini rim that they're going to be releasing. They'll be showcasing it where they're going to be at DreamHack. So if you're in Dallas, in the Dallas area, you can go to DreamHack and you can actually try out this new Mosa wheel, for Lamborghini wheel from Mosa. All right, so this is again, this wheel is coming from the Lamborghini Essenza hypercar. Yeah, they don't show you like really any big pictures, but I can see on there you got the paddle shifters, you got a couple buttons, dials on there, but it's a lot more simplistic rim than the previous Lamborghini wheel. So seeing they're continuing their collaboration. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the last wheel was the Essenza hypercar. This one's the Lamborghini Revuelto. There we go. No prices on it, Tom. Nothing yet. Just saying that, hey, it's announced. And you'll be able to actually try this wheel over at DreamHack in Dallas this weekend. Yeah. But yeah, so you go. For all you Lamborghini fans, there you go. You're going to get a new Lamborghini wheel coming out for you. And only $999. Hey man, you're paying for the Lamborghini name. You know, you're gonna be paying a pretty penny. All right. Roadcraft, you know, from the makers of Mud Runner, Snow Runner, they're releasing a new, you know, they've launched the new game called Roadcraft. So I've been keeping an eye on it. I want to try it out. I haven't gotten it yet, but I do want to try it out. It seems like a really cool concept. So when you had, you know, when you had Mud Runner, you just went out mudding out in the, you know, in the wilderness. Then you had Snow Runner where you had to run missions to rebuild things, reconnect towns and stuff. Then they came out with Expeditions, where it was more of, you know, going out doing research. But now you have Roadcraft, where going back to more like building things, reconnecting, doing recovery missions. So I really want to try it out. I'm probably going to try it out this weekend since it's Memorial Day weekend. If I have some time, I'm going to download and try out Roadcraft. But yeah, up to 4-player co-op. So if you have any people in the sim pit and they want to try it out like on a Monday, I'm more than jumping on and giving it a go. But yeah, you kind of go in like after disasters and things like that and rebuild. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it's available now. If you guys are big into the Mud Runner, Snow Runner series, that's their newest edition. All right, next one, Rennsport. Rennsport is coming to consoles. Arguably the most amazing, the greatest sim to ever exist is coming to consoles. Aren't you guys excited? Are you ready for it? I'm ready for it. I can't keep it straight. No. Rennsport, yeah. Rennsport's coming to consoles. And it's going to be coming later. It's going to be released in 2025. So it's right around the corner, guys. You'll be able to try out Rennsport on consoles. I can't, Tom. I'm the only one here. I can't just like. I'm still gonna hear myself. Like, yeah. I saw some streamers doing. They had a creators cup thing over the last weekend. I tried watching it. I couldn't. I just couldn't watch it. Now, Joa, now, when we checked, what is it? On Thursday, they had 25 people online. All right, not 10 people, they had 25 people online. Let's get our facts straight. Hashtag SimFacts. All right. So like I already have my issues with Rennsport. I've detailed them in previous shows before. But and I gotta look at this, so I'm not gonna assume, I'm not gonna say anything, but is the Rennsport, and I gotta do my research, so I'll probably talk about this next weekend, but here's some questions I have for myself that I probably have to answer to myself first before I go on any tirade. So depending on what my research yields, depends if I go on a rant next week on Rennsport. Probably Joa, but again, I'm just saying they had 25 people. We don't know who they were. We don't know anything, but it was 25 people. Anyways, because I'm just gonna say Wreckfest, and people should automatically know what I'm talking about when I say Wreckfest. Wreckfest was an amazing game before they did the console update. And then after the console update, it wasn't that great anymore. So, I'm going to do my research, and depending on my research next week, I might have a rant for the show when it comes to Rennsport. So we'll see. But anyways, for you guys, console guys that have been waiting for Rennsport, hey, you don't have to wait too much longer. It's right around the corner. You know, you'll be able to pick it up for the consoles. All right. We talked about this last show, so we talked about a little bit how APX GP car is coming to the Formula 1 game. But now they're also going to be adding playable scenarios from the movie. So you'll be able to if you go watch the movie. I think it comes out next month in a couple of weeks. I believe Hamilton showcased the F1 drivers. And if you want to see their take on it, you can go online and see their take on it. But yeah, so after you watch the movie, then you'll be able to go relive some of the events that happened in the movie in the F1 game. So we're going to be adding playable scenarios from the movie into the F1 game. All right. Let's see. Yeah, so F1 25 will let you relive key moments from the F1 movie. You'll be able to drive the APX GP hero car in 6 playable scenarios inspired by the film. Each scenario will blend cinematics from the film with on-track gameplay and objectives to complete, depending on the driver you play. Set in Silverstone, the first scenario will be available in both the standard and iconic edition, and additional scenarios featuring race weekends at Monza, Zandvoort, Mexico, Spa, and Abu Dhabi will be a pre-order bonus for the iconic edition. So yeah, I'm getting to that, George. Just give me a second. Companies are just getting greedy. So you're saying, you're enticing you. If you just pre-order the standard version of the F1 game, you get to play one scenario. But if you really like the movie, and let's just say the movie was probably the greatest racing movie of all time, and it just breaks records, shatters everything. It just leaves Ford versus Ferrari in the dust. It's better than Rush. It's better than anything that's out there. And you become a huge fan of the hand. Like, oh, but if you want to relive the other scenarios, you gotta pre-order the iconic edition. So you got to spend more money to do that stuff, or you got to buy it as a separate DLC pack for the standard version. This is the kind of stuff that I don't agree with. Like, yeah, like you sit there and you're using that kind of as a bait. Like, all right, like people really enjoyed the first scenario, but hey, you want to play the rest of the scenarios? You gotta pony up a little bit of moolah, pony up a little bit of cash to play all the other scenarios. I don't agree with that. To me, that's just dumb. It's just, to me, that's companies being greedy, trying to get more money out of sim racing fans. And we're already spending 60, 70, 80, even $100 on some games. And you're telling me that, content that is already available, like I have to purchase it separately. Like, I can understand season packs for additional DLCs and all that other stuff, to make the game last longer so they don't have to develop another game. Like, I get those. Like, let's say in LMU, now they're gonna release a 2025 pack DLC because the game came out before 2025. You got to pay the developers to make content. Got it. Perfectly okay with it. But if you've already made content before the game was already released, it should already be part of the base game. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, yeah, to me, this is just corporate greed. But woosah moment. All right. Right, catching up to your set. You're just gonna get the pirated version. I mean, why not? Like, I don't agree we should be paying the money that we pay for games with some of the games nowadays. Like, I can still make $70 on a game. I can kind of stomach it, but anything more than that, I don't agree with paying that more than that for a game. I'm just watching your guys' chat. Cool. All right. We're one more article, Dirge. One more article before we get to JDM. You see it like right here. JDM. Got it right here. All right. Automobilista. So here we go. The Automobilista is bringing out the IndyCar 2025 livery pack, and it's getting the Indy 500 update. So there we go. So all you guys, Automobilista fans, yeah. Yeah, so here we go. So now they've released the 2025 IndyCar livery pack to run a fully immersive Indianapolis 500. So if you guys are huge fans of IndyCar, you have AMS2, here you go. Oh, no, wait. I looked at this article the wrong way. Or did I not? Or is this from Automobilista, or is this from... this is a downloadable pack. All right. So no, yeah. Apologies, guys. I thought the AMS2 released this. Anyways, yeah. So if you guys are huge IndyCar fans, there you go. If you want to get the 2025 IndyCar livery pack for AMS2, you can download them over at Overtake. They have the article up here. Here's the thing here. So for huge, it's not released by AMS2. It's released by modders and painters, and you can download that from overtake.gg. And you can relive the Indy 500 with the newest liveries. Mario Kart World needs a movie. Jack Black and a game with all content. What could I mean, we did kind of get a little bit of a nod to Mario Kart in the last Super Mario movie. Yeah, Dirge, my mind didn't click when I was pulling up news because I rushed home to open up all these articles and realized, like, yeah, there was an issue between IndyCar and AMS2 with licensing and stuff, and this is just, a user-created livery pack. All right. So yeah, here you go. Here you go, Dirge. Talking about Japanese Drift Master is now available. If you guys tried out Rise of Scorpion, it was a pretty good demo. Really good, if you're really big into drifting. Here you go. Here's a title that came out. Another game I gotta try. Another one I gotta try. Because I really enjoyed the demo, Rise of the Scorpion. It was really good. And here we go. So Japanese Drift Master is out. So you can go out there and grab it right now. So you can get the game for €34.99, euro, $34.99, 29 British pounds. And additionally, they have a support pack that's available containing the soundtrack, wallpaper, and the full English JDM manga, a high-resolution map of Gintama, and 5 character cards. Here we go. But that's not only that, but they also talked about the roadmap going forward with JDM, which I think is really good. That, hey, we released a game, but hey, we're not done yet. We're releasing more stuff. So they also talk about the roadmap. So here we go. Phase 1, within the first 3 months of launch, we're getting an improved car setup system, quick car tuning, deep rims and tire customization, new cars, and new tuning parts. Phase 2, after 6 months, we're going to get a driving school expansion, custom vinyls and stickers, career mode, photo mode, new cars, new tuning parts. And then Phase 3, we're going to get the split screen mode. So if you want to sit there and game with your friends in real life, you're going to be able to do that, right next to each other. Arena rally events, new special events with manga chapters, cars and tuning parts. And then currently ongoing, we're going to get a UI UX refresh, AI improvements, GPS navigational overhaul, wheel presets, event win, community feedback, force feedback settings overhaul, and improved resolution and display options. So there you go. They're telling you here what they're trying to get done with essentially the next 9 months of this game. So giving you a pretty good description of the roadmap going forward. And I agree, Dirge, it would be great to have an online mode, because then you can have competitions with your friends too. Yeah. I'm not touching that one with the 60-foot pole, Tim. Not touching that one. Sorry, but I don't know, Tom. I don't have real friends that come over to my house anymore. You got to tell me. Do you have any real friends that come over? So most of you guys are my friends. Yeah. But really cool. Yeah, if you're into drifting, there you go. JDM is out for you guys. All right, last news article. We're almost done. Endurance Motorsport Series. So Nacon's, here you go. We got Overtake. They actually got to try out the Endurance Motorsport Series. And so if you want to go to Overtake, watch the video of them trying it out. And here they give you a couple of notes of here what's going on, where they're taking a different approach to this game a little bit. Because, you know, when Nacon, they've made sims, they've made arcadey games, but this one's, they would talk about, is this one kind of falls in the middle. They wanted to have elements of arcade, elements of a sim, but they just really wanted to make sure it focused more on the fun aspect of racing. So there you go. Here's this article out from Overtake, and yeah, they're talking about it has a title also offers an interesting new approach that players can also be the engineers of their team. You don't just have to be the driver; you can also be the engineer, and you can swap between those two roles on the fly. And so this is set to work via online multiplayer or with AI taking on the role of the player. Is not fulfilling when playing. So that'd be pretty cool. Like, I could sit there, if I'm understanding this correctly, I can have like me be the racer, and then Joa could be my engineer in the game. That'd be really cool. Like, that'd be really awesome. Like, you know, he's the guy that's telling me what's going on the track. You know, brake harder, brake less. Here's where you can gain time. You know, basically, you know, reading the telemetry and all that. That's really cool. And you know, as 2 cars will be available per team, and up to 4 players can join forces. So yeah, you can have 2 drivers, 2 engineers. Oh, that is really cool. So all right, it says, yeah. So they said, you know, Endurance Motorsport will indeed slot into the sim category, but not to the hardcore kind. You know, they likened it more to the F1 games. The game's going to be a little bit forgiving, but only to a certain extent. So missing your braking markers and simply flooring the throttle is not going to get you anywhere. That's really good for the guys that don't want super serious racing, just want to have fun. I'm talking about the management system. So you're going to have 6 different screens to look at when you're managing. So yeah, talking about, so they got a glimpse of the management aspect of the system. And then, so you're going to have factors like wind, tire wear, temperature, fuel, repairs, and strategies. That's going to factor into the management side of things, as does the weather. And then the players are going to be able to instruct the drivers to behave in certain specific ways to make sure your strategy works. That's really cool. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, for AMS2, we got to hit up those guys to make sure we can take a look at this title. That intrigues me. The whole engineer aspect of this really, yeah, it really intrigues me. Pro Sim Racing. I'm subscribed with all notifications turned on, yet I get no notifications from YouTube or the SimPay channel. That's weird. Are you talking about like on your phone, Sean? Or you might have to like redo the notification bell for the channel, and then just make sure on your phone that you have notifications from YouTube enabled. Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's really cool. It's really interesting to see that now you can actually be more of an engineer than actual racer. So if you got a friend that doesn't like to race, but you want to be your engineer, that'd be really cool. All right, so that's really the news. That is all of our news, and I've already taken up an hour and a half. Holy shnikey, I thought this was going to be a short show. Yeah, exactly. X-Drivers, yeah. 100%, like, really cool. It'd be really cool to see, kind of like, I don't know if anyone's ever played Motorsport Manager on your mobile. Where it's kind of like that, where you get like the 3D view of all the stuff going on the track. You can move around, see what other people are doing and things like that. If they have something like that in this, but a little bit more in detail, like seeing you know, the different strategies and things like that. That would be really, really cool. Because I like Motorsport Manager on my phone. I play it whenever I have some free time, or like when I'm traveling. Mostly when I'm traveling, I'll play it because you can play it offline. Um, yeah, if they bring in that aspect of being like the race manager engineer, that'd be really cool to do. And if you don't want to drive, you just want to be the manager, you can do that too. Swap around. Yeah. Anyways, so now getting into the sim pit side of things. Last weekend we had our road racing series, and we were at Imola. I didn't do too well. I got hit, which completely damaged my car, and then so I was out of any kind of contention for like a for top 5 finish. But Randall White was our winner over at Imola in the Pro Series. So we had Randall White, he was in first place, Joshua Higgy in second, followed by Christian Ellie, and then Jarrell Williams, and then Sam Hinchy rounding out our top 5 for our pro class. And then going into our amateurs, we only had 5 participant guys. Where is everybody? We should have a huge amount of people racing. So first place newcomer Alex Howland, he finished in first place, followed by Travis Fleming, David Payne, Robert McNeil, and then Ken Estep. So that's for our amateur class right there. And that leads us into our points. So right now we got Joshua Higgy. He's I think my points are a little messed up. No? So Joshua Higgy is in first place with 220 points, followed by Randall White. Then in third place we got James Dowling, and they got Nick Batista in fourth place, followed by Sam Hinchy. Well, now this is the this is the standings. Sorry. So yeah, there you go. That's our top 5 for our pro series, for our pro drivers, and then going into our amateur drivers. Right now, Robert McNeil, he leads the championship, 202 versus 108 from David Payne, followed by Travis Fleming, Kenny Estep in fourth place, and then followed by Joseph Spacek. Yeah, we've been having a lot of people missing races. I hope they come back. It's been a lot of fun. No, Christian. You can race, but no. Other than that, going into our road series. So road series, where were our guys at? Is this right, Callum? We were at Latvia. So here we go. Going to our overall. All right, so first place by Jeff SMKU, followed by Caractus, Callum in third place, Bloody McGee. Then we got Frank Patcham, Alesh Mom in sixth place. We'll just do the top 10, followed by Dirge, Ikumina, David S, and then Jan 1779 is our top 10. Yeah, I did. There you go. I went overall. Sector 6. There you go. I did it. I did it right. All right, then go into our championship standings. So based off of those results, so we got Jeff SMKU in first place. He's leading the championship, followed by Caractus. Then we got PC Deadman in third place, followed by Heiko in fourth place. Fifth place is Bloody McGee, which is Joa, and then sixth place is Alesh. Then we got David S in seventh place, Dirge in eighth, Turlon in ninth place, and then Max Power WRC in 10th place. That's a good question. I don't know. It looks like he's an Xbox racer. So you see the logo right there. Yeah, so there you go. That is our rally stages, and then so for this week, which starts today, they're racing at Greece. And for all these rally stuff, if you want to join our rally, all you got to do, join our Discord. You want to join our road series, you want to join our rally, even though our road series is starting to end. You want to join our road series or our rally, just join our Discord, go to the respective channels and say, hey, I'd like to join. And then we'll let you know how to get into our leagues and everything like that. Yeah, and before I forget, so road series, we've got 3 more races left. We don't have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of races left for our road series. So I'm starting to plan out our summer road series. So I'm thinking about, now that LMU fully supports online, everything like that. I'm thinking about doing a summer series in LMU. I don't have the exact full details just yet of it. I don't know if I'll do like all classes or just single class. Not entirely sure yet. But if you want to be part of our LMU series, again, just in our Discord, under the LMU channel. Just let us know, hey, I want to be part of the be part of the series. And if I get enough people, I'll go ahead and create one. If not, well, then we'll just do a bunch of fun races throughout the summertime. But I'd like to actually get an LMU league going. It's a really good sim. It's gotten a lot better. Still has its issues, but when you're actually out there racing, it's really, really good. Well, Dirge, you gotta let me know in Discord. I posted a message in Discord. You gotta let me know in Discord. Right, Callum? All the guys are on the consoles. Yeah, some are certain. No, Tom. No. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see, Joe. Depending on how many people and what content people have. I might only do the base tracks. Because I believe I can do all the cars, and you can still join on whatever cars you have. You don't need to have the DLC to have all the cars. I think I got to look into it. I don't even think you need the tracks. I got to look more into it. Like if I do it through their race system, I don't even think you need the content. As long as I have the content, I think you can get on there. But we got to try it out. But yeah, we could probably like after the probably one of these weekends or probably during the weekday, we could try it out and see like if we could I'll create a race and see if you can join it with your just the base content car. And yeah, we could just go there from there, man. But yeah, anybody that wants to join us and race with us in LMU, just do a reaction. I made a post in the LMU thread. Just do a quick reaction, let me know. That way I can start playing anything out. Because if I only get like 5 people, like there's not really a point of doing anything. No, I agree, Callum. I agree, Joe. I see your point 100%, man. But yeah, cool. So there's that one. So going into the team standings, so based on the results, we also have team standings. So these are guys who are fighting for prizes that are given by D-Nut stuff. So right now we've got Caractus and Woutvat Morik. Their rally team, they're right now sitting in first place, followed by Joe Antonio and Scooby. Then we got third place David S and Tom Jones, then followed by Dirge and Booth. Booth replaced me as a Dirge's teammate because I just couldn't get EAWRC run in. So Booth has luckily Booth has taken over for me. Then we've got Alesh and Sean Cole, which are essentially in last place because unfortunately, Whipperman Racing have withdrawn from the league just because of other stuff going on. So fortunately, they're not able to carry on. But yeah, so there you go. That's the team standings for our rally league. But again, if you want to join our rally league or join our road series or join us in any of our racing, all you got to do is join our Discord. And the quickest way to get our Discord is to do !Discord, give you a link, and then you can join in and just have fun racing with us. Not just racing, chat with us, talk about things. We've got DIY, we've got people that talk about DIYs, talk about gear. So if you got any sim racing questions at all whatsoever, we got a lot of people in there that can help you out and answer your questions. So there we go. So that's it from the Sim Pit. And last plug I'm going to go into. So, if you weren't tracking, in September, we're going to have our first ever Simgaming Expo in the States. It's going to be in Chicago. It's going to be the first week of September, 4th, 5th, and 6th, I believe. Hosted by a good friend of ours, George. George used to run the Ironheart series in iRacing, with the cars. Really fun league. And he was a creator of it, used to run it, and now he's moved on to better things. Now he's trying to organize a Simgaming Expo. It's not only include sim racing, it's going to have flight, it's going to have VR, it's going to have any sim you could think of. He is trying to have it there at the Simgaming Expo. A lot of people are going to be there. A lot of manufacturers. Every week we try to showcase all the new people that have signed up to be there. All the new companies are going to be there. So we're going to get into it. So we got Funky T-Bone. Funky T-Bone is a streamer. and he really, he really helps beginners learn more about sim racing. I've checked out a couple of his stuff, makes really good content, so he's going to be there as one of the streamers. I didn't see a graphic on their Discord for it, but you're also going to have Sarah Nochi. Sarah Nochi is a new upcoming sim racing content creator. She's been doing it a little less than a year, but she's becoming very popular. She makes some really good content. She's going to be there too. And then moving on, SimLab. SimLab has now been added as one of the exhibitors to this, to the Simgaming Expo, and they're going to be one of the platinum members for the Simgaming Expo. And they're going to talk about how SimLab, they're going to be there, but they're going to be showcasing 16 of their P1X Pro sim racing cockpits. But they're also going to, not only that, but they're also going to be providing their sequential shifter, their X1, XB1 handbrakes. It's going to be fitted to their rig. So if you guys have ever want to try out SimLab gear, they're going to be there. They're going to have a lot of different equipment out there for you guys to try. And actually, I'm going to be at SimLab June 13th. I'll be doing some content with them. So yeah, I'll be doing out there, doing an interview, getting a factory tour, and hopefully I get the, bring some gear back home to review too. Yeah. What's that? All right, yeah, when you get home, George, LMU right? It's because I'm so much prettier than Amir. Yes, you are, Devin. You are a handsome man. I said it. You're not as gray as I am. I bet somebody... Amir is too pure and good. I don't like getting dirty. No, I'm kidding. No, I just couldn't get WRC working. I tried everything. I still haven't even heard back from EA. I submitted a ticket 2 weeks ago. I still haven't heard back from them. Some say Amir smells like a newborn kitten. Wild raccoons befriend. Actually, I made friends with a cat the other day. Yeah, it was. I was sitting here working on some stuff. It was maybe like 7 o'clock at night, and I'm just sitting here working away. I hear like this cat screaming, and I was like, "What is going on?" And it sounded like it was coming from inside my house. Like, there's no way a cat can come inside my house. Like, I open my windows a little bit to let some air in, but I don't open them all the way so that things can jump in or anything like that. So like, what is going on? So I get up and I go up to the door and I hear the cat scream again. So on the side of my door, I've got two like frosted pieces of glass where I can kind of see outside. And right there on the bottom, I see a cat laying down and it's just screaming. So I'm like, what is going on? So I open the door little by little. I don't want to scare the cat away, but then I see another cat sitting in front of my walkway and he was bullying the other cat. And so I kind of like shoo away the other cat. He sees me, he runs off, by my ugliness, because Devin's much more handsome than I am. And, but then the cat comes into my house. And so like, it starts walking around, and everything. I give it a little bit of water, give it a little bit of food, and I just let it explore a little bit, help it kind of de-stress a little bit from the attack of the other cat. And I just go back and I come back up. I sit on the couch. I started watching TV. And it just jumps up onto my couch, lays next to me. I pet it for a little bit. It falls asleep. And then for like maybe an hour, then it gets up and starts meowing, wanting to get out the door. And then I just open the door and never saw the cat again. Yeah. So yeah, that was my story with the cat. But I'm also an AMD user, Alesh. I'm not just an Nvidia user. I don't know, Tom. I don't know. I hope people are gonna wear something at least to identify. So I know we're gonna be wearing me and Sean are gonna be wearing Simpit shirts. I know that for sure. That way, at least people can identify us. Sarah's like printing money for Sim Gear and companies. Well, the thing. So here's the thing though, Spatial though. She's not like she's not like other content creators. I've watched her stuff. She knows her stuff. I mean, she's big into cars. She's got a, I think she's got a Porsche. She's got a BMW M2 that she drives. So she's trying to get into racing, so she knows her stuff. She's not like one of those, let's just say, questionable streamers. And I like it to where, like, I like her stuff where she knows her stuff. She knows how to approach the videos, but she's also learning as she's making those videos. She's not she doesn't come off as, somebody that's trying to make money off it. You can tell that she has a genuine interest and passion for sim racing. So I got to give her that. That's where I got to give her that. Like, we've all seen the other people, other streamers are out there. I'm not going to get into them, but at least for her, like, I'll defend her to where, like, she's trying to be a good sim racing content creator. She's not trying to take cash from people. Let's say that. If you just look up Dirge, her name is just, if you just Google Sarah Nochi, it'll just pop right up. Yeah. I said I've watched some of her content. Like, her content's pretty good. Yeah. So I'd watch her stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Driver 6. I mean, but there are, you can't deny there are some females that try to take advantage of their looks to get to certain places. Now, I'm not talking about just racers or sim racers or anything like that. Well, we gotta admit, there are some people, and not just women, guys too, they take advantage of their looks to get to places where they probably don't belong. And those people need to be cast out and ostracized. Like, just because somebody looks good doesn't mean they know what they're talking about, doesn't mean they know anything about the subject or realm that they're entering. And they can act nice, they could do whatever, but eventually those people get exposed, end up getting ostracized anyway. But there are some, but I've seen some great women sim racers that are out there that are really, really good at sim racing. When I've done some races, I'll admit I've been beaten by women. I mean, I'm not saying I'm like super fast or anything like that, but I've been handily beaten by women in sim racing. And I got no problems with that. If they're better, I don't care if you're a guy, a girl, a tree, a cat, whatever. You beat me in sim racing, touche. More power to you. I'll acknowledge that you're a good sim racer. But yeah, I think she falls more into, hey, I want to do content. I sim race for the passion of it and nothing else. That's the vibe I get from her. So that's why I kind of watch some of her content. There's so many people out there to watch. So I'm not saying I'll watch all of her stuff religiously or whatever. I just try to catch whoever I can when I've got a break or time to do it. Like, I don't get to watch all of Stellion's videos. I don't get to watch all of Matt Malone or Jaxer or Ralph or all these guys, really good streamers and content creators are out there. I don't have the time to do it. So I try to catch people when I can. Like, if I'm on my subscription feed, I see a video, I got time, I'll click on it and watch it. Yeah. Right? Well, I think it's because of the shyness of his bald head, Joa. Yeah, exactly, Booth. Yeah, we're definitely. But I'm not gonna get into that subject. But anyways, yeah, if I see somebody trying to say, yeah, we'll hammer down on it for sure. No, I get that, Tim, but I just want to make sure we're clear. Like, again, if you've got the looks, for sure I would take advantage of it too. I know I have long good hair. I grow out my hair. I want to showcase that, right? And not just for sim racing, but I just want to, hey, look my best. So I've got no issues with her, how she wears things or anything like that. Like, if you've got a guy or girl, if you've got the body and you want to show it off, be more, do it. But don't let that become the that's my only thing, is don't let that become the distraction, because I believe that takes away from the content that you make. Like, yeah, you'll get a lot of questionable people that will follow you or hate you because of what you wear, and you got to be kind of cognizant of it. But you also got to accept, like, hey, if I'm going to be wearing this, you're going to attract a certain kind of attention. Do whatever you want to do, but don't let that be the main factor of you making content like some of the other people do. So that's all I'm saying. No, of course, it's gonna, yeah, Callum, 100%. Exactly, exactly, Tim. I'm trying to be a hippie, man. I've always told it for people for the last 10-15 years. Even though I was an airman, I was still a hippie at heart. 100%. Like, I was a military guy trapped in a civilian's body. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Callum. Like, yeah, I think she does a great job. She does a great job at what she does when it comes to the review. Her camera work is great. What she talks about is good. And she deserves credit where credit is due. 100%. I keep stalker creeps and my goddess supermodel looks under wraps helmet to keep it focused and no distraction. So is that what you do, ex-drivers? Anywhere you go, anytime you go outside, you got to make sure the helmet's ready, like right next to like your key table. Before you walk out the door, you put out the helmet, you go to the store, get in your car and all that stuff. You're just constantly wearing the helmet. Well, we just talked about it, Alesh. We got ex-driver 69. She's got goddess supermodel looks. Man. Come on, Alesh. Pay attention to the chat. But anyways, getting back into it, guys. All right, we're going to try to wrap this up. Yeah, so this is just a press release that, the SimLab has been named a platinum sponsor for being an official exhibitor at the Simgaming Expo. Sean and I are going to be there. So hopefully, hopefully you guys will be out there too. Your kiddos, that is all. That is funny. I mean, I got my helmet. I don't know if you can see it. I mean, I think the camera's obstructing the view, but it's on the top. Yeah, I think the camera's obstructing. I got my racing helmet on the back. I'm hoping next couple of weeks I get to go to Nürburgring and actually get to wear it. So what you're saying, S-Driver 69, yeah, like, you're not the Stig, but you and the Stig have never been in the same place together at the same time. He has more than just his helmet on too tight. Alright. And then last thing, exhibitor announcement, Simlight. So Simlight is going to also be at the Simgaming Expo. So they're there. They're going to be talking about... Well, I'm sorry. They're going to be showcasing their gear, their stuff. So yeah, that's another exhibitor that's been announced. So it's packing up to be a really, really good show. So yeah, but if you haven't booked your tickets yet for the Simgaming Expo and you want to get a little bit of a discount, we've got a discount with the Simgaming Expo. All you got to do is join our Discord and then go into announcement section. Right there, we've got a code for 10% off for your tickets for the Simgaming Expo. We're trying to organize some things for the SimPit community. Get some time on their sim rigs and their esport arena so we can actually race each other in real life. Maybe do some other activities together. Yeah, so I'm thinking about I might fly in there on Thursday, probably leave on Monday so I can actually get, the Friday, all that the whole time. But yeah, so hopefully I get to meet you guys out there. And get to meet different people. I've met quite a few people that have joined us in our chats before at the Simgaming Expo. Met some people, that have subscribed to us at the Sim Expo in Dortmund. Met a lot of people. Always fun. It's always a great time just sitting there chatting with people about our passion. And now I get to do it twice a year, which I'm super psyched for. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's all of our news. all of our chat, all of our talk, and taken almost 2 hours. Holy crap. So on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go. I've got dinner waiting on me. I've got to do some other things, and then I've got to start doing some practice too for Imola this weekend. So other than that, guys, I hope you guys have the great rest of your Friday. I hope you guys have a great weekend. And until next time, guys, have fun racing. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.